All right, welcome. Well, I have to check my colors. So, oh yeah, so it's better. Uh, Welcome to the 25 private 25 review. This is an inspirational meeting, and so if you want to learn some languages, if you learn to say the word thank you in different languages, you see in the background all kinds of possibilities for that. So it's a bit like gratitude, gratefulness, thanksgiving. Thank you for giving, and thank you for forgiving. And all of that will be part of this meeting. And sure that you found something that is related to it in your sharing. I did. And so, yeah, it's going to be great to meet each other this way today. I made an sort of kind of a contemplation meditation that I'd love to share with you. We'll do that in a moment. Then there's an in-between moment in which Joel is looking together with Mary Baker Eddy at the idea of fear. So I thought that's interesting. Let's take a look at that to them, with them. And then there's, of course, you. Maybe you prepared something that you really like to share about what is going on for you, what you discovered in your reading, or you want to dedicate a moment together to silence or to healing. All of that is welcome in this moment together. And yeah, let's start with the beginning, and that is the contemplation. Now I recorded it before. It takes about 4 minutes. Then we will be, say, 5 minutes quiet, and I'll repeat the same recording one more time. And you can read with it if you feel like it. It's available. So it's also subtitled in French. You maybe repeat that 3 times because it's incredibly beautiful. And it was really given to me to share. So that's why I love it. I love to hand this out to myself and share it with you and receive it again and again. Oh, that my life be lived in thee, for thee, and with thee, and that I may always be satisfied with thy great gift of grace. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. And Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. How can I then desire anything from anyone? How can I desire any condition or any circumstance? I can only abide in the center of my being and realize with gratitude that in quietness and in confidence is my peace, not in taking thought, not in seeking God power, but in quietness and in confidence do I find my peace, my rest, my abundance, my companionship, and my home. Only when I have God does my human companionship appear and appear harmoniously. Only when I have God do I have abundant supply. Only when I have God do I have health. God is within you now, and you are in God now. You already have God's presence where you are. but it is your conscious remembrance of that presence which brings it into manifestation. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Only be sure that you are not seeking things. Train yourselves to have no desires but the one great desire to know God. I have no desire but the desire to walk with God, to serve God and to love God. I have no desire but that God's grace may be revealed to me, that God's love may be made known to me, and that God's will may be expressed in me. All my desires, all my longings, all these have to do with God, not with anything or anybody external to me. I have already the kingdom of God within me. What more can I have? As I abide in that kingdom and am still, the feeling of God's presence comes alive in me. There's an awareness that I am one with God and that God is on the field. There's nothing more to do, just to be quiet and let my heart overflow with gratitude. Your own will come to you. The enlightened consciousness that is attained is itself the health and the bread and the meat and the wine. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. So the meditation, by the way, the meditation was from the Contemplative Life. I suddenly remember it. It's like the Contemplative Life on chapter 10. There's a piece that I used here for the meditation. So it's, I don't think directly related to the Private 25, but I thought it was a great meditation to use today. And that's why that happened, I guess. It's like that's wonderful. So I wanted to say, to see what Joel shared in terms of gratitude. Like, it's amazing the place that you start to remember. It's amazing that you did get to it. Like, apparently the time is right for you to meet this specific place in you. And that is a very obvious place, but for anyone but a human being. So there's all kinds of ideas and processes related to coming, say, remembering the most natural place that is the universe itself, and that is you, yourself. So that is an amazing thing if you really look at it, and we come to that in this meeting that we have. It's like, okay, this is exactly what you came to remember. This is exactly what we are, say, remembering on a regular basis. We train ourselves, like Joel says here too in the meditation, like train yourself not to have any other desires. So it's continuously not turning everything down, but more seeing like that doesn't avail me anything, or I discovered that doesn't avail me anything. I went through an episode, I really thought I wanted it, and suddenly it's like it evaporates right in my face, like it just disappears. All the value that I've given it, now I got it, and it is nothing. Like I'm empty-handed. And so that is the practice then. It's like letting go of those desires. But that sounds really like as if it is a sacrifice, but it is not. Like the idea of letting things go is basically discovering the meaninglessness of it. Like I valued it, but I take it back. Like if I think it's going to do something with me, it's going to complement me, it's going to make me better than I was before, forget it. I don't want it. Now that goes really far, because in fact your experience of yourself in this moment, if you walk around with an idea of accomplishment, of to get to something that actually makes you complete, you will have the same thing. Like it's not going to happen. And so you can say the real thing, or the real you, the real universe is the only thing that there is. And you know this as an idea, but in fact it is, that is the vibration or the frequency, you could say. Like that is all of it. In that, all things that you temporarily value evaporate. Literally they disappear into thin air. They just are not there. Anything that you think will complement you or make you complete will fail. You can wait for it. You can wait for it. And you do wait for it. So then your patience is very good. You know, you have a lot of patience for hoping that something else will work, even though you know it's not going to work. You still have a lot of faith, also, like a lot of faith that certain things will happen and actually do something with you, or for you, or complete you. And you have a lot of patience with it, waiting for it, and trying it again and again and again. Now that is interesting, isn't it? And it's just, say, in fact, in our process, in our awakening process, we learn more and more to be honest, even to look at our own, say, corruption, to see that we're looking for things in our minds. We're say, running after things to think that it will add something to us, or to yeah, it makes us complete. And we're actually admitting our corruption in that sense. We admit, yes, wow, look at that. I'm still doing that. Like, oh my God, I just caught myself doing so. I really thought it made a difference. I really thought that what my neighbor has, that should be mine too. Or I really thought that I was missing out on something. Like if you did not have that feeling for the last 24 hours, great, great. But yeah, it might not be that way. So you're definitely looking for something, or you admit that you actually do that too. You forget about it, but you let go of it. But you there's a repetition in that, in human behavior, where you look for that. Now, I'm not trying to convince you of that, of course. It's more like the freedom of admitting it, seeing that that's the case, knowing that perfect spiritual behavior, whatever that means, is not required here. Like, no, it doesn't matter in the end. It does not matter. And there's nothing to be afraid of. Like, there's nothing to be afraid of. So your admission of your, the honesty that you share as you being you, with all the things that that you do and that are coming up in you, admitting it or sharing it, is liberating, in the sense It is allowed to be there. Does it have value? Well, temporarily it can have value for you, but in the end it doesn't have value. I mean, none of this has. So the pure essence of you is what value is. The rest is not. And yeah, that is our not our goal, but that's the realization of you seeing that, of you coming to an say Christ perspective, of you coming in the recognition of yourself. Yeah, absolutely. So that is that. Now I like to share a bit of what Joel shares in one of the talks. He's talking about Mary Baker Eddy, and I like to bring her in. Like there's still so much Christian Science going on, at least coming to me with the ones that are actually coming from that church or from that direction, and having discovered Joel and having, yeah, studying that, seeing that Joel is referring to Mary Baker because he was part of the Christian Science Church too. But he has something to say about fear that I like to share. So that's what I'm going to do right now, at least what I made of it. What is not dealing with fear? Because Joel is speaking about that. Not dealing with fear. Okay, so going back to Mrs. Eddy's writings, you'll notice that under treatment, she says you only have to handle fear. But the point is that we are not dealing with your fear or with the fear of a patient. So why are we not doing that? Why are we not dealing with your fear or the fear of a patient? Because that would establish it as something real, right? Just the same as sickness. Like we're not dealing here with sickness. We're not dealing here with mesmerism or the ideas of a patient in terms of validating it as if it is something. Now here Joel gives us a couple of instructions, like 4, I think. So don't ever try to heal fear in a patient. Don't ever try to get rid of fear in yourself. Personalizing fear is just the same as personalizing good. Fear is not yours or mine. Fear was on earth before we were. Fear will be on earth as long as there is one person believing they're a human being. So never be concerned about getting rid of your patient's fear. Don't handle fear for your patient. Don't handle it for yourself. Just handle it as a universal claim. Just the same as if you caught a man stealing, you don't call him a thief because he isn't. It's the claim of lack or the claim of fear or the claim of selfhood apart from God. The man is but an instrument through which it is being expressed. And here's like the target is like 154a, The Nature and Activity of the Infinite Way by Joel Goldsmith. So don't handle fear for your patient. Don't handle it for yourself. Just handle it as a universal claim. Just the same as if you caught a man stealing. You don't call him a thief because he isn't. So don't handle it for yourself. Now that's an interesting question, expression that I'd like to talk a little bit about. See, you can say like universal claim. It has nothing to do with you. It was already on earth before you came. Now that's an interesting idea too. It's like how actually is this? Was there an earth when you came? Was there an earth before you came? And is there an earth if you leave? That's interesting. So you probably have thought about it, and if you feel like sharing something about it, you're welcome to do so, even though we're not discussing this. So it's like that we'll do that later. But it's more like, okay, so don't handle fear. Now, from my personal experience, my spiritual, say, moment, my spiritual initiation, my spiritual awakening, initial experiences that I had started with a, say, being in an incredible experience of fear. Like I was literally aware that I was afraid of everything, every step, every not taking a step, every thought, everything. Like it drove me crazy, so to speak. It drove me crazy. I didn't know what to do with it, and at a certain point, I decided to surrender into it. Like, okay, fear, come and get me, and like, okay, whatever that, however that's going to look, I'm done with this. And something else happened to me. It's like suddenly I'm lifted out of my whole idea of humanness and experience a moment of peace and perfect communication. So it's like, is did I handle my fear? Well, no, in fact, I invited it in. I, I had like, okay, well, whatever. Show me what it would mean if I, say, surrender into my fear, into the fear that I'm experiencing, and seeing that absolutely nothing happened, except that suddenly my mind is open to receive a whole different experience. That was a direct communication moment. It's like suddenly there's communication, the perfect synchronicity of a universe being like a clockwork, unheard of, and not being able to function afterwards for a very long time, like completely um, disrupted, you could say, or rebirthed into a whole different entity up to today, and which is great. So not handling fear, it's like that's a great idea. Don't handle it. Don't try to live with it. Don't try to handle it for your patient. Um, don't do anything with it. Certainly not establishing it as something with power or something that that is yours because of something that you did. So that's in fact what I get from what Joel is sharing with us. The universal claim is not a personal claim. It has nothing to do with your personal doings in the sense that that is like an the outcome of, well, if you do that, then this is the consequence of it. As if there's a reciprocity between you and God. Like, okay, if you do that, then no wonder that you're afraid. Or like that is not the mechanism that is playing here. So it's like fear can dissolve, fear can completely disappear. Fear will disappear, and you come into a totally different experience of yourself. Now, the other question is like, was the earth here before you came? It's like, was there an egg before the chicken? It's some comparable story, in fact. Was there first the egg or was there first the chicken? And here it is, of course, like seeing that you enter into a consciousness, like suddenly you're aware that you're aware in a certain place. Suddenly that place is there too. So looking at my experiences, if I'm having an experience of my unity, of my oneness with God, And it's taken me all the way out of this human frame of reference, taken me completely out of it. Is there then a world? No, there's no world. If I'm thinking suddenly about something that I think I need, is there a world? Yes, suddenly there's a world. I mentioned this as an example. I use it many times. It's like I have a great God experience, beautiful communication. Suddenly I'm hungry. And it's like suddenly a whole hologram is rolling itself in front of me. There's a fridge, there's food in the fridge, there's a. Anyway, so like this, like suddenly there unwraps itself a world where I reside in. Like, in other words, like you cannot give more reality to this world than that it's a reflection of what you are thinking, what you think your desires are, what you think you need, what you think where you think you live. Well, all of this, of course, confirmed to one another if you think that there are others to confirm something to you. But that belief you have too, so there are others confirming that to you. And that's that, yeah. And we all say, like, this is our reality. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, this is what happened in this world. This is what happened in that world, and we confirm it to each other and believe that that's our reality. So that you can easily get it, that this is the way that the world that we see is made, by confirming our beliefs. In fact, being taken out of it, it disappears. It's like literally disappears in front of you. So this is great. So you took the world with you when you came. You literally brought the world with you when you came. It is not any other way. And it will go when you see no value here. In the moment of your total recognition of the love for your Father, that is your reality. That takes care of the world. Do you think about it then afterwards? Well, if you think about it, it will be there. It will suddenly be there. But yeah, anyway, so this is just to do a little, say, stretch in your consciousness, in fact, a stretch to see that the possibilities that are real will always be there. The momentary reflections that you get are temporarily helpful for you to come to the place where you see it is over, because it is over. So in whatever scientific, whatever scientific faculty you want to use, you will see that confirmed. Like, of course, I'm not saying anything new. In fact, it's like in the quantum science, if you don't see the object, it is not solid. It is not that what you think it is. So it's like it's only there solid because you bump up against it. Yeah. So and so there's more proof, of course. You can say a lot about this. Yeah, I'm seeing a chat. Oh yeah, how to be in the world but not of it. Yeah, because that would be the in-between kind of compromise idea. Like, how can you be in the world and not of it? Is that a possibility? Yes, of course. We hear it all the time. We hear Joel speak about it. It is in even also in the Course in Miracles. It's like you can be in this world but not of it. So how do you do that in your mind? How do you do that? Because are you confirming that there's really something there? No, not really. Are you thinking that there's something outside of you? No. So this is in fact the only way that you can be in the world and not of it, by realizing that there's nothing outside of you, staying centered in your being, in fact, but at the same time dealing with what comes your way. It is really like being in a borderland, like you're in a borderland, a temporary learning condition with the awareness that none of this is so. So you might be tempted for a moment to validate it, but in the end you're going to release that. And the release of mind or the release of ideas is in fact our practice to die daily to our humanhood and recognize that the truth of us is what we are and nothing else can that be. So that is say the practice of releasing your mind. The first thing you do when you wake up, in fact. When you wake up, you might breathe for a moment, you might look around, or you might drink a sip of water, but then there's something to deal with. Like you're suddenly here, you find yourself here in a certain place. Now you can validate that place by doing the things that you might do, is like checking your phone or checking the news, what happened in the world. Suddenly there's a world and something happened in it. But you can also say, as a first start, release your mind of that, like release your mind of any kind of idea, allowing the pure inspiration to come to you right from the start by stepping back and not validating any other ideas, stepping back out of it and allowing yourself to feel presence, to feel the communication, being open to that and wait and being patient with that, more patient than all the screaming invitations from the world. This is the practice as you do it, as you can do it. So it takes practice, of course, and discipline, but it's more like you come into it, into this practice by regularly training this. That's really lovely. All right, so I'm just letting this go for now. So thank you so much for sharing, receiving, giving. Thank you for everything, like whatever language. Danke, danke schön. Spasiba, spasiba. Merci, of course, and there are many of them. Wow. Finga. Obrigado. Thank you for everything. Thank you for everything.